And once again, we are here live from the palatial studio of the podcast center of the universe with Shane Matthews and John Cornell. It's Pot Up with Shane Matthews and John Cornell here right now, Monday through Fridays, 8 o'clock. This is a Thursday edition. What is it, the 18th, the 17th of December as we get close to...
the 19th.
The 19th of December as we get close to Christmas. Yesterday, of course, was signing day. That's right, QB. We are here every Monday through Friday, God willing, and we are offering you a chance to participate with us as we talk about the world of sports on Pot Up with Shane Matthews live on YouTube as well as Facebook Live. And QB, here we are, a Thursday morning before Christmas, and lots of things happening, believe it or not. This is typically a quiet time, but my goodness, things going on in Jacksonville. We'll probably talk to somebody later this morning about that, about the Jaguars firing Tom Coughlin. The day after National Signing Day, the early period, lots of things changing hands, lots of kids now going to new places. Lives have changed, and football teams are going to start looking different. We've got the college football playoffs, of course, and so much to do here on Pot Up. 353-7465 is your number, area code 352. That's 352-353-7465. Good morning, QB. How are we doing this morning?
Doing well. Big day yesterday for a lot of kids, signing their national letters of intent.
Yeah.
Gators ended up, depending on what publication you look at, either 7th or 8th in the country. I thought it might be a little higher, but a couple of kids there late didn't flip like they had thought. But 6 of the top 10 recruiting classes are from the SEC.
Wow.
4 of the top 8 are from the West.
Well,
so
that's not a shocker.
Well, it is a shocker because A&M. A&M continues to be in the top.
Yeah, well,
top
you
6
go
or
visit
7.
there, and then you'll see.
But they got to win games. They're not winning games.
It's true.
I know all about A&M. I took a visit to A&M.
Yeah, well, you took a visit back in the whenever. I mean, it's a lot different now. QB.
No, I know that. You don't have to. When you talk facilities, you're talking to the wrong guy.
No, I'm talking to the right guy.
Yeah, but I know about every facility.
Well,
in the country.
who is okay? So Alabama, LSU, A&M, and who?
What?
You said 4 of the top.
Auburn.
Oh, Auburn. Okay, I'm sorry. So, players everywhere. They love coming here to play in this conference. This is where the best play. It's just that simple. And, so Florida, 7th, 6th, or 7th. I mean, anybody that really stood out for you is like, wow, that was a must-get, and they got him.
Well, they added a lot of guys on the defensive line, which they needed. They added
a couple O-linemen, too.
Yeah, they got 4 offensive linemen.
Yeah, that's good.
Tons of defensive backs. They have 1 wide receiver from Dunellen, really a 4-star, really good player. So they didn't get a running back, but they still have till February. You look at the transfer portal. I'm not worried about that. They got guys they needed from on the interior on both sides of the ball.
Well, that's a relief. I mean, I think depth was an issue, but 10 wins, going for 11 with the Orange Bowl, which, by the way, is before New Year's, isn't it?
It's December the 30th.
30th. Okay, so they'll have the biggest game of that day for sure as they get ready to play the Virginia Cavaliers. I suppose we'll talk about that as we get closer to that game. But QB, I think so. Well, let me ask you this: who was 1 or 2?
Clemson was number 1.
Clemson. Okay, Clemson and then Alabama.
Clemson and Alabama. I mean,
right.
Here's the thing. I had to do an interview for a kid in the journalism school the other day about what I thought about this new likeness, athletes being paid.
Instagram, girlfriends, all that.
Well, no, about being paid.
Right, for their likeness.
Yeah, I don't know about what Instagram.
Well, Instagram, kid puts up, I've got Head and Shoulders on my Instagram or whatever.
Oh, that. Okay, well, I have mixed emotions. I do think the athletes need to be paid something because of the time they put in. They can't go get a job, but the whole paying thing is, I don't know what they're going to do. But my point is, I don't know what my point. My point is, it's collegiate athletes, so they should not be paid. But if they are, it needs to go in some kind of fund where they can't get that money until X amount of years, maybe use it for health care or whatever. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, this has all come about inequality. When you're talking about billions of dollars being involved in an entity, and many involved in that entity are making millions of dollars. However, the primary labor of that entity is not. Now, not to say they're not getting something. Of course, a free education, of course, facilities, health care, and all of those things are provided. So there has to be a monetary value placed on that. True. But the money is so large that the primary people responsible for creating the revenue stream are getting fractions. So that's where this is all coming
Well, what my point about paying athletes is, it's not going to matter, because the best athletes are going to continue going to the schools they're going to right now.
Yeah.
Look at the top 10. If Taylor can pull up the top 10 in 24/7 recruiting rankings for 2020,
no, it makes sense.
it doesn't matter. So you're trying to tell me that, let's say, the number one player in the country, if they do start paying players, and let's say Tulane, we're going to give you, or SMU, we know the money SMU has. They offer this kid $200,000. Do you think he's going to go?
It's going to be like that.
I'm just using an example. Do you think that kid's going to go to SMU because of the money,
Yes.
or is he going to go to Alabama or Clemson?
SMU.
No, he's not.
Well, if he's getting
He wants to go.
$200,000,
He wants to go, but they're going to pay him something to go.
Oh, Alabama would. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't say that.
My point is, doesn't matter what the other schools are offering.
Yeah.
Those schools on the screen,
okay.
he's getting ready,
Well,
are going to get the best players in the
Listen,
country.
those schools on the screen there, in your example, are not going to get outbid by an SMU.
But my
Not
point
one of
is,
them.
I don't think a kid is going to take the money when he has a chance to go win a national title.
Yeah, but I also don't think a kid would play for free at Ohio State in this day and age if somebody's going to pay you at Iowa. So, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about that, but I think it's all about likeness, QB. It's about likeness. You can go to Georgia. You can play all you want there. You're not guaranteed a damn thing. How many times has Georgia played for a national championship here recently? Maybe once? Right. So, but, okay, bad example. How many times has LSU played for a national championship until this year?
None.
0. And
Well, no, they did back in when they
haven't been in the playoff. They have not
no,
been
not
in
in
the
the
college
playoff.
football
But I'm talking about they played for the national title when they played Alabama.
well, that was in 2011. I thought you were talking about this new era.
Well, I'm just saying, my point is, if the whole payment to athletes comes about, which it probably is, those schools on the screen, regardless if they pay players as much as another school, they're going to go to those schools right there because they have the best facilities and they have a chance of winning.
Well, right now there are 3 of those schools that have the best chance to win, and I don't know where the other one is.
Scroll down.
They're
Right
right
there.
there. All right, so
What I'm trying to say is, you take those top 10 schools right there. Those are your teams that are going to win a national title in the next 10 years.
well, there's a couple more.
No, none of those other schools have
Why
a chance.
can't Penn State have?
They're
a
not.
chance? Why
They're
not?
not. They're
If
not
they
going to be
win
able
the
to
Big
beat
Ten?
Ohio State. They will not be able to beat Ohio State.
That's too. Yeah.
None of
okay.
those schools.
Well,
You take the top 10, and those are the ones that are going to be your national champs for the next 10 years. Book it.
Well, the only reason you've got LSU even included in that is because of this season. You had them nowhere in that discussion last season.
But they're relevant now.
Well,
was my
they are
point.
because they had a great year, but years change. Every team, like last year, you did not think LSU was going to be in this discussion.
No,
Next year,
no, but they've always had the facility. And they've
sure,
always had
sure
the
they have.
athletes.
But so is Texas. So next
Texas
year
is never going to be relevant.
Okay, so next year, who's to say that Texas or
There's one school here in town that will be in the mix next year.
okay,
because
or
of the
Florida,
schedule. They
or
will be.
Florida isn't.
Have you
okay,
seen our schedule?
Right, but
it's
what,
an Alabama type.
It doesn't
schedule.
matter. You're going okay, but year to year, every team that's on that list, including the team that's at 11, 12, and scroll up for me there, Taylor. If you're trying to tell me right now that Michigan doesn't have as good a chance as Notre Dame, you're crazy.
When's the last time they played for anything?
It doesn't matter. Last year, LSU didn't play for anything, and here they are.
I'm just telling
every
you,
year is different.
Year in and year out, though. Michigan maybe has a chance, but I'm telling you right now, there's a handful of 10 schools that have a chance to win the national title from here on out.
Washington was in the
They're
playoff. They were in the college football playoff just recently.
And they shouldn't have been.
Why not?
They got destroyed.
No,
the Pac-12,
it was actually not as bad.
The Pac-12 is a
close.
joke.
Well, listen, I know you can't stand all these other conferences, but
No, it's a fact. Look at the stats.
Listen, they haven't been in the discussion.
Look
but
at their
Washington
stats in
played
bowl
for
games.
them. No, bowl games.
But-
how many guys? I mean, bowl games.
My point is, they have no chance.
Okay,
the
no
Pac-12 is irrelevant.
Well, I don't deal in absolutes like you do. I just think every year is different, and I think that's been proven. And I think
it hasn't.
Yes, it has, because LSU was a nobody.
Okay, you're using one example.
Well,
but
hell yeah, I'm using one. I could use 5 examples
Give
if
me
you want
another
me
one.
to. Okay, Washington, the year they went to the playoff, they were a nobody the year before. Chris Peterson gets in, and boom, they are relevant.
Okay, so you're talking about one every 10 years. I'm talking about the same
I'm
teams.
talking about every year is different. And yes, you're saying that there are consistent
10 schools
teams
that will win a
that,
national
that
title.
have a chance to get in the college football playoff. That's fine. I'll argue that with you and say you're right. But I also will say that every year there's going to be somebody that pops in there that you may not believe is able to pop in there.
LSU
You had no idea LSU was going to be even close.
But are they a perennial power in recruiting?
They've always been. They have always been.
That's my point.
Right.
That is my
point. But that doesn't mean they're going to get there. Michigan is always a perennial.
I said 10 schools. There's only 4 spots. There's 10 schools that will fill those 4 spots. 99.9%.
Well, there will be more than 4 spots as we go forward too. But as we get back to this recruiting thing that happened yesterday, just because you have these great classes, sometimes doesn't mean it's all going to pan out to be spectacular for you. And prime example of that is 2017. The top 10 quarterbacks of the 2017 season.
They're not even around.
They're not. We don't even know who they are. Hunter Mills or Hayes Mills was a kid that was recruited number 1 as the number 1 quarterback in 2017. He hasn't seen the field because of Trevor Lawrence. And there are players out there. Tate Martell, where's he been? Who's that? We only know who he is because of his cool name, Tate Martell.
Well,
so listen,
here's the thing.
You just don't know how this is going to pan out.
Here's the thing.
Nobody knows.
I read somewhere when the year Deshaun Watson came out and signed with Clemson. It was a list of the top 12 quarterbacks. His year, he was the only one that ever took a snap in collegiate football.
What? Who?
Deshaun Watson
was the only one that took a snap?
Out of the top 12 quarterbacks in his class.
Yeah.
He was the only one that ever played in a game.
Yeah, this is the recruiting that we deal with. Nobody knows. Nobody really can tell how it's all going to work out for you. So you may have these high rankings, and your odds are increased with the more 5 stars and 4 stars that you get. Yes, but it doesn't guarantee a thing. It really doesn't. It just guarantees, I guess, that you're going to have good players competing against each other, but you never know who's going to see the field. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100% with it. I mean, recruiting rankings, you got to have good players, and it goes to show you, like I told you, the top 10 teams right there, those are the only teams that are going to have a chance to play for the national title.
I mean, on a consistent basis, you need to add that. We had a text message yesterday when we ran out of time, and by the way, we're going to have so much activity today that it's really exciting because we're going to pick our bowl games because this is probably our best opportunity to do it between the QB and I. But we had a text message, and if you bring us a text or call us, just go ahead and kindly give us your name and maybe where you are from or where you are texting or calling from, more importantly. The question was from an anonymous text with a number that I don't recognize is okay, but it says, it was good to see 3 Gators on the Heisman floor.
Yeah.
HBC, Danny, and Tim Tebow. Should have been 4 because Rex Grossman wasn't there. Okay, he loves Rex Grossman.
Well,
great player.
Danny and Coach go to it every year. Tebow, I think this is the first time I've seen him at the Heisman ceremony because he was actually working for ESPN.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why a lot of the guys don't go to this. It's a small fraternity. It's once a year. It's something that you'll remember the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I don't know why a lot of the guys don't participate.
Well, a lot of the more recent ones might be playing.
Well, I understand that, but there's a ton of them that aren't playing.
But his question revolved around Rexy. And I guess you would agree that kid was certainly amongst the best that played that year. He didn't win the Heisman.
He was as good a quarterback as Florida's ever had.
Yeah. Rex Grossman?
Oh, he was ridiculous. I want to talk a little college hoops, but we're going to have Joe Cowart from 1010XL over in Jacksonville join us, talking Jaguar football, what's going on with Tom Coughlin. But college hoops.
Okay. College hoops.
The Gators sit at 7-3. People bitching and complaining, this, that, and the other.
Okay.
The North Carolina Tar Heels are now 6-5, JC. I saw where Seth Greenberg last night said they will not make the tournament.
Wow.
They lost to Gonzaga last night.
They did.
The mighty Kentucky Wildcats lost to Utah last night.
And there was another one.
Tennessee lost on the road to Cincinnati. Tough place to play. LSU at home, who a lot of people think are extremely talented, one of the most talented teams in the conference, lost at home to East Tennessee State.
Really?
Okay?
Yes, they
did. But check this out. Arizona State, who's a very
That's
good
the
team, lost by 40 to St. Mary's.
Yeah, Chris Harry with that text. St. Mary's.
Now, this was at home for Arizona State. It lost by 40.
40. Those kids didn't show up. They must have.
But let me tell you something.
Anything can happen is your
Florida
point. I get
is going to make a deep run in the tournament, and you heard me say it before the season started. And some people text me saying they wouldn't make the NIT.
Really?
This team
Who said that?
well, I don't know.
I don't know, but He's so worked up about
Well,
that.
we got to take a timeout here.
Why do we have to take a timeout?
Because it's time for Joe Cowart.
Joe Cowart's coming in. We're going to talk Jaguars chaos up in Duval County and what the outlook is for the closest NFL team to us right after this break.
It went by pretty fast, didn't it?
It did.
That's him. Welcome back. Matthews in the morning here. It's about 8:20. John Cornell, Shane Matthews, JC and the QB, and we are now joined by my man Joe Cowart from 1010XL over in Jacksonville. He hosts the XL Primetime from noon to 3 o'clock.
There you go.
Joe Cowart, welcome to the program. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Shane. How you guys doing?
Good. I got John Cornell here.
How you doing, Joe?
We want to talk a little bit. We got a lot of Gator fans, obviously, in this area, but also they follow the Jaguars. And I know you're close to the organization over there. Get your thoughts on what happened with Tom Coughlin. Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised. I guess maybe more than anything else, I was surprised that Shad actually did something. Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars, this guy's a billionaire. He's made many of important decisions. But, we were kind of on his case over the last couple of days saying, where is the owner on this? And, if you've been following the story, the NFLPA basically sends a letter to every player. Shane, you've probably received some of those letters before, but this one was damning for the Jaguars because they sent a letter to every player that said, hey, when you're making a decision on where you want to play next, you should think long and hard about not going to Jacksonville because basically 1 out of every 4 grievances that players have filed in the last couple of years to their Players Association has come from a Jacksonville Jaguar. That is the worst possible thing to attract a new free agent. So I'm glad that Shad Khan finally stepped up and said, you know what, I've had enough. Because, if you think about it, that's his team. He's going to make a decision to probably fire the coach and maybe even the general manager. He just went ahead and did what he wanted to do at the end of the year and fired Tom Coughlin, and I think he absolutely needed to do it.
So, Joe, I mean, when Jalen Ramsey leaves Jacksonville and is open about his displeasure to be there, and we all think, okay, well, Jalen Ramsey's got a problem. It's a Jalen Ramsey problem. Could it be that perhaps there was a lot more to that when he ends up in Los Angeles, becomes an all-pro all of a sudden? Well, we all know how good a player he is, but now he's listed as an all-pro on the Rams, from the Rams. But when he left Jacksonville, everybody was on his case. Perhaps there was a lot more to that story, Joe.
Yeah, I really do think so, John. The bad thing about it is that Jalen Ramsey is an incredible player.
Yeah.
And when all this went down and he basically asked out of Jacksonville, I told our audience, hey, do not let this guy walk. This is a potential Hall of Famer. This is how good he is.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that he wanted out, and he kind of, hatched his own plan, a little bit of a turd move on his part, but he got out of there. And, yeah, there is some truth. He's been on Instagram and Twitter the last couple of days, talking about, hey, I tried to tell y'all. And so we're talking about an old guard Tom Coughlin, strict discipline, all that stuff, and these young players that they really don't identify with that message. And what's ultimately the thing is that Jalen Ramsey, he will go out and play hard for you on Sundays. And if you give him an environment that he feels good in, then he's going to be productive. And Tom Coughlin, who is a stickler when it comes to rules, basically broke all the rules by finding guys left and right and making it impossible for them to enjoy their time there.
And it had to be tough for Doug, too. I mean, he's the coach. He's trying to run this organization on the field while we have another dictator up there in the office in the ivory tower trying to run it from there. So it's a very difficult environment. So perhaps the owner finally did what you said and took action. Now, having said that, we've got a situation where you've got a football team with a quarterback like Gardner Minshew, all types of potential, coming back now, bringing the team to a victory over Oakland. Is Gardner Minshew now going to be the Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback that's going to be leading this team going into next season, or it will be an open contest with Nick Foles because I guess he's the one who got the money?
Yeah, I think it's still got to be an open competition, but I would love it for Gardner Minshew to be able to prove that he can win this job long term. They're growing mustaches everywhere in North Florida.
Yeah. Well, it's a brand. It's a brand. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a brand.
It is. I mean, and Shane, Shane, did you ever try and trademark something from Mississippi? This dude's trying to trademark a Mississippi mustache.
Oh.
So, I mean, it is truly a brand.
Yes.
And so this guy, he's talented. He's got just a little knack for the moment, and hell yeah, I think he's got a chance to compete for this job. They can't cut Nick Foles because he's just too expensive. But I think both guys go in and compete.
Joe, when you look at the organization, obviously they've parted ways with Tom Coughlin. Do you think Doug Marrone is the football coach next year?
I don't think so. I think they've got to just go ahead and clean house. There's blame to spread everywhere. Tom Coughlin, we know what he's done. Dave Caldwell, I think, has been just a bad evaluator of talent. He's made poor decisions when you think about he's had basically, not him alone, but this regime, this team has had basically 10 top 10 picks in the last 11 years, and they hardly have a star to show for it. So I think he probably will be out as well. And Doug Marrone, for his part in this, yeah, it's been kind of an impossible situation. As John said, that guy sitting up in the ivory tower looking down on him, kind of second-guessing him, with Tom Coughlin. But at the same time, it's a heavily penalized team, Shane. They don't look the part half the time. They get blown out in football games. You played a lot of NFL games. This team, 5 straight losses of 17 points or more before they won against Oakland, and that hasn't been matched since the Buccaneers back in '86. So that's how long it's been. So I still think they're going to wipe the slate clean.
Well, and to your point, I was at the Tennessee game in Nashville, and they just didn't look interested. And it's too bad because when you're being paid every Sunday, you should be interested, right? So I mean, it was just one of those. It was it was just one of those experiences. Like this team has no interest in being out there, and Tennessee, of course, was trying to play for a division. So with that, Joe, give us a sense. Now, I guess Houston took the lead. What do you like in the NFL playoffs with the way we're coming out? The last 2 weeks, I guess you're probably going to have New England as a 2 or 3, but give us your take on what to expect, I guess I should say, in the AFC and NFC playoffs as we get closer, even though there's been a lot of there's still some uncertainty as to where these teams will be seated. And then finally, on following up with that, give me your take on the way the NFL seeds these teams when you could potentially have a San Francisco playing out of Philadelphia or Dallas with a record that is considerably better than either one of those two possible division winners.
Yeah, a lot of people are, kind of floating that idea. Why wouldn't you reseed just based on record alone, forgetting about divisions in the NFL? And I'm kind of a division guy. I like the fact that, hey, you know where you're playing. You got to beat the rest of the teams in your division. But I get what you're saying, because there are basically 3 teams that are 11-win teams right now, and one of them could drop down in seeding. You got New Orleans, you got San Francisco playing as well as they're playing. So yeah, I like that. I think it's probably going to be a discussion when we go into the next collective bargaining agreement. Right. But we're talking right now, Baltimore is the most exciting team. They really are. They're the funnest team to watch. Lamar Jackson is lights out good. So hard to track down, over 1,000 yards rushing, over 3,000 yards passing. I mean, this guy's been unbelievable. So yeah, I would look at them along with Kansas City. New England's finally showing a little bit of age. It's not like I'm happy that Tom Brady's showing some age, but finally it's happening because they've been so dominant for so long. So those are probably the 3 teams in the AFC. You might throw the Houston Texans in there. based on how things are going with Deshaun Watson. And then, like you said, get over to the other side. You got all sorts of possibilities with really good quality football being played.
Joe, switching gears a little bit to the Gators. I know y'all covered a lot over there. Speaking with Joe Coward of 1010XL over in Jacksonville, talk briefly about the job you think Dan Mullen has done in his 2 years here, and basically what you think of the recruiting class they had yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. The good thing about a recruiting class, or at least this early signing day, is when you don't have any really big surprises in a negative way. So a lot of guys that have committed, signed on the dotted line. That's what you want. I know that he's looking for wide receivers and running backs. He wasn't, too disappointed yesterday that they weren't able to land some of the, those top targets. But fellas, they got lines of scrimmage guys that they need. Those types of guys he's going to be able to work with and build around. He's going to run a certain type of offense. You got Anthony Richardson, who we all know is, uber talented. So I like what he's done. I mean, he can go out there and when you made a decision back in the day to play for the Gators, you know who you were playing for. I mean, the guy could draw it up and play it. And Mullen is basically the same type of guy. I like the idea of Kyle Trask staying under center and having an offense that goes vertical instead of a run offense. But Dan Mullen, give him credit for everything he's been able to do. Florida State's down, Miami's down. You better take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You still got to go toe-to-toe and slug it out with Georgia. But right now, hell yeah, I think he's done pretty good.
I think he's exceeded most people's expectations without a doubt, Joe.
Before we let you go, Joe, you got a question for him?
No,
JC?
go ahead.
I would like to. We got the Final Four. We got Clemson playing Ohio State, obviously LSU and Oklahoma. Give us your thoughts. Who you think wins those two games and who wins the national title?
Yeah, that national title, I still think Eddie O, man. I mean, right now, the only thing that I would look at is Clemson's just kind of laying in the weeds, sitting over there. Everyone's taking shots at him. Dabo's having to stick up for the ACC. I've been calling the ACC another crap because that's basically what it is. It's been terrible.
Yeah.
It's been terrible football through and through.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of sitting back there, and so I could see the Clemson LSU college football national championship game. I think people would love to see that. Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow. And I think LSU, tough enough, good enough. Joe Brady calling up some unbelievable plays. Burrow playing his tail off. That's where I'm going. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Cajuns.
Yeah, I'm going with you, Joe. We're sticking with the conference here in the SEC, and I'm a little concerned about Clyde's hamstring. Got some word that they're not 100% sure if Clyde's going to even be able to play in this first game. But I like where you're going with that, and I think it will be just an awesome it could be epic. Imagine New Orleans, what that's going to be like 2 days, one day, and the day of that game. My God. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, I was there in 2011 when Alabama played them, and it was better than Mardi Gras. It really was. Yeah,
the etouffee and the bourbon,
it's great, isn't it?
Oh, and the lion.
I know it's awesome. You're speaking with Joe Coward of 1010XL, folks. So you're listening to him. We'll get you on that next time, and thank you so much for being with us, Joe.
All right, fellas, y'all be good, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Joe. Take care. That's Joe Coward, 1010XL. You can check him out on XL Primetime from noon to 3 over in Jacksonville. Check him out on Twitter at 1010XL Joe C.
All right. Now, having said that, QB, we need to and we'll talk about this is operational stuff here, but we got to do some Twitter. We got to have some Twitter handle here for the show.
You can do all that.
What? I mean, don't you think we're building the brand here,
I understand.
Man.
You love tweeting. You love tweeting.
All right, so now we move from that to what I think everybody's been waiting for with bated breath here and high anticipation, the JCQB Bold Pick Bonanza. Are you ready to do this? We were going to try to do confidence points, but that's getting to be a little difficult. So we'll just go straight to it. The Military Bowl is North Carolina and Temple, and I kind of went with these games in the order that they are being played in on the calendar, with the exception of the big ones, the college football playoff games. So let's start with the first game that's coming up, and that's North Carolina and Temple. Go ahead.
Well, I've put zero thought into this.
That's right. So you just look at that screen and you go for it.
I'm going to go because I know who you're going to pick, so I'm going to pick the opposite. I'm going to go with the Temple Owls.
Yes, give me North Carolina, please, fast. All right. I'll take the next one first. Michigan State, Wake Forest. My God, this is the Pinstripe Bowl in Yankee Stadium. That's about the most exciting part of this whole issue here. Give me Wake Forest.
I'll take the Demon Deacons as well.
Okay.
Wake Forest from me.
Tyler, let's put the QB on Wake Forest side. That a baby. Okay, your turn.
The Texas Bowl, where's that being played?
In Texas.
Well, I understand that. You don't know what city?
I'm going to say the Alamo Dome.
Well, I'm going to go. This is a really good matchup, I think.
This
Oklahoma
is in,
State and Texas
I think
A&M. I'm going to stick with the SEC, and I'm going with the Aggies.
I like Oklahoma State. I don't know why. Give me Oklahoma State. No idea why.
Well, I think the reason why is A&M just kind of has laid up egg the entire year. They haven't beaten anybody worth a darn.
They're just so dull. All right, Cheez-It Bowl. I'd like I wouldn't mind seeing Air Force win this, but give me Washington State. Bubba Spurrier's on that staff. Mike Leach is a lot of fun, but I do love the Service Academy teams, but I'll take Washington State.
Boy, this is tough. Gosh, it's hard to prepare.
I just wonder about Washington State's toughness.
They play no defense.
Yeah,
they're going to score.
All right, change me. I'm going to Air Force.
Oh,
Give me
so I
the
just
Air
talked
Force.
you out of.
Yeah,
I'm going with Air Force as well
Yeah.
because I don't think Washington State can stop the option.
Brutal. All right. Penn State plays Memphis in Dallas at Jerry World in the Cotton Bowl. That's a big payday for the University of Memphis, but they lost their coach, Norvell. He's not coaching in this game.
He is not. So I'm going with Penn State. James Franklin's done a very good job there.
They'll be
his teams look like an SEC type team. They're the second fastest team in the Big Ten behind Ohio State, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Nittany Lions.
All right, make it 2 there. I like Penn State. Notre Dame and Iowa State. Ever since 1972 when Notre Dame beat Bear Bryant, I've banned myself from ever rooting for them or picking them. So I love the Cyclones in this game. Plus, I just love the Cyclones. I think Matt Campbell's cool. I think that program, of course, what they did for Alabama fans in 2011 when they beat Oklahoma State at home with 4 losses. Give me the Cyclones all day.
Well, I don't like.
I'll wear an Iowa State hat for you, too, the day of that game.
Okay, well. They have to win, though, right?
No, I'll wear it the day of the game.
Well, I'm not a fan of Notre Dame in anything they do.
I can't stand
for whatever reason. They think having their own network really bugs me for whatever reason. They've been irrelevant for so long. I hope Iowa State just hammers them.
Buries them. Look, I love this down here. All right, Mississippi State and Louisville. You love the job Satterfield has done at Louisville. Not so impressed right now with what Moorhead has done at Mississippi State. I think a guy pretending to be a dog peeing in the end zone basically saved Moorhead's job, because if they lose the Egg Bowl and don't go bowling, I don't know if Moorhead is there, but he's still there. They had a pretty good recruiting day yesterday as well with 22 kids signing up. Whether or not those kids are any good, we'll find out, of course. But
it has nothing to do with this game.
I know, but give me Mississippi State. I'm going to go with Moorhead for some reason.
Well, I like the Dogs as well. They played in this game 2 years ago over in Jacksonville in the Gator Bowl. It was Louisville against Mississippi State.
They killed them.
Satterfield, as you mentioned, has done a tremendous job taking over where Bobby Petrino left. But they've had trouble stopping people.
Yeah, they can't.
And I just think the strength and the speed of Mississippi State will prevail.
You know, we're agreeing on too many games here, QB. This is not good. All right, Kentucky and VPI, that stands for
VaTech.
Virginia Polytechnic Institute, otherwise known as your Hokies. I love what Stoops has done with that wide receiver / quarterback. The fact that they didn't cave on the season and they're playing for another bowl win at Kentucky. I'm all about it. VPI is just a big disappointment in the ACC year after year after year. I like Kentucky.
Well, I'm torn here. I need to probably Taylor to find me some information here, because if Lynn Bowden Jr. is not playing, he's declared for the NFL draft. And if he is not playing, I'm going with Virginia Tech, because he is all Kentucky has on offense.
So wait a minute, he's not playing?
I don't know. But I put an asterisk by my picks here. If Bowden is playing, I'm taking the Wildcats. If Bowden is not playing, I'm taking
We
Virginia
are subject
Tech.
to change that on the news of what Lynn Bowden does.
He's the best player in the SEC.
He's amazing. He's
Take Joe Burrow out of it.
Better than Randall Cobb.
He is by far the most best athlete in the conference.
Well, let's just say athlete, yeah. Okay. Because I wouldn't want him playing quarterback if I had to.
Did you see his stats against Louisville?
I know.
He went 1 for 2 for 4 yards passing,
and he ran
had 22 carries for 286 yards.
Yeah.
That, to me, tells you he's the best athlete in the conference, because Louisville knew he couldn't throw the football.
Yeah, he's kind of
and he ran all over him.
Right, he did. All right, Taylor, do we scroll up now for more games, or how do we do that? Let's move on. We're
I
moving
thought
on.
that was all our games.
No, QB. I mean, we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. You're gonna stick. He's gonna put the asterisk there.
Okay.
As he tries to get.
We probably should take that game off the board right now until we know who's winning it.
Okay, so that's not open. All right, off we go into the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. It's Kansas State and Navy. I saw Navy play. They can't throw a pass 8 yards downfield. I don't think there's any way they stop the physical nature of Kansas State in this game. I'll take the Wildcats.
I'll take the midshipmen.
Oh.
Kansas State will not be able to stop Navy the entire game.
Okay. Utah and Texas. By the way, Jake Bentley, your South Carolina quarterback from last year, who got hurt, entered the transfer
Portal. He's
portal
going to Utah.
and is now a Ute for next year. But I got to stay with Texas. I mean, there's no way I'm going to pick against my horns over there. Although I think Utah's going to win. I hope Texas wins the Alamo Bowl. I know this is in San Antonio, so we're going to take Texas.
I love the Utah Utes
Sure.
here. The only problem with the Utes is, are they going to be interested in
That's
playing?
right.
But Texas is a bad football team.
Can't stop
They're
a thing.
so overrated. I think the Utes, even if they aren't even in this game mentally, are the much better team. I think Utah can win this game running away.
All right, here's Auburn and Minnesota in Tampa at the Outback Bowl. Auburn coming off that huge emotional win over Alabama. Minnesota with a great season, winning 10 games. I think the popular pick is Auburn, but there's no way in hell I'm picking Auburn because I would never pick Auburn against anybody. So Minnesota is my play here, and don't be surprised if they somehow figure it out how to score on Auburn.
Well, this is going to be an interesting game.
A lot of these Auburn kids might not be.
I love this matchup because you got to think the Row the Boaters with TJ Fleck. They're going to be excited to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
But Auburn has too many athletes, and I don't care how many of them sit out. They still have more athletes than Minnesota.
They also have Bo Nix. Now, Michigan is playing Alabama. You just go ahead and put me under Alabama. Only 2 guys so far have announced for Alabama that they would not be playing in this game, and that's on the defensive side of the ball, which, of course, helps Michigan. Of course, even if they played, I'm not sure they wouldn't be able to score a lot of points on Alabama, but I'll take Alabama.
I'm going to stick with the conference here. I think Michigan. I don't think either one of these teams are going to be real excited to play in this game. We'll just lean towards Alabama because they have the better players.
Oregon plays Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. I mean, I don't care. Give me Oregon.
Oh man, what a game!
Oregon. They're the West Coast team.
They are the West Coast team, but I'm going to go.
You're going to take the Badgers.
I'm going to take the Badgers just because JC took Oregon. I could care less who wins this game.
Yeah.
But I think Wisconsin can slow the game down, and I don't know. I doubt Jonathan Taylor's playing.
Right, and I don't think he'll play, and I don't think Wisconsin, in this case, typically you would think they would be more physical than Oregon. Oregon's a physical team, so I like their senior
I'm going to
late.
go with Wisconsin.
You take the Badgers. All right. Georgia and Baylor. Does Georgia care about this game?
Probably not. Baylor will care. I saw where Baylor's recruiting class is ranked 50th in the country this year. 50th?
Wow. They just can't get them to go to Waco.
I still have a hard time. Baylor doesn't have enough offense for me. I think Georgia's going to score on defense. I'll take the Dogs.
And the Baylor quarterback situation, who knows, right? So let's take Georgia in that one. Tennessee, what a turnaround Jeremy Pruitt has had. They are thrilled to be going to the Gator Bowl. They actually turned down the Music City Bowl in Nashville. They didn't want to play Louisville. They didn't want to go to Nashville. They were excited to go to Jacksonville. This is a great trip for Tennessee fans, too, because it's drivable, and they will fill that place. Indiana, in the same respect, is excited about coming to Florida and playing in a bowl game for the first time in God knows how long. This is going to be an interesting game, I think. It's probably one of the better ones. But I'm sticking with Tennessee. They're hot. I like the way Pruitt's turned that season around. They were so bad coming to Gainesville in September, and the way they turned their season around is I'm quite impressed by that because they were really bad.
They were, but they were the same way last year. They were terrible at the beginning.
So take Indiana.
I'm not taking Indiana because I think Indiana's a bad football team. I think
do?
Tennessee's
You think they're bad?
They're not very good.
Well, they're in the Gator Bowl.
Well, Tennessee's a better football team. Okay. But the reason Tennessee, if you look at their schedule, it's the same as last year. They look horrible at the beginning, and they beat up on the Vanderbilts and the Sisters of the Poor. But give Tennessee credit. They're in a bowl game. I'll take the Vols because I'm going with the SEC.
Okay, now we have Florida playing Virginia. I feel bad for old Bryce. What's his name?
Bryce Perkins.
Perkins. They can't block anybody, and Florida has a lot of motivation to win this game and play well in the state of Florida, down in Miami, recruiting players from there. Florida's going to win this game by at least 3 touchdowns. This is going to be one of my biggest when we do the confidence thing. Out there, I like Florida.
Yeah, Florida will win this game handily.
Oklahoma plays LSU in the Peach Bowl. This is the first of the 2 big games on that college football championship Sunday. The semifinals on December 30th, or is it the 28th? It's the 28th, excuse me, the 28th. Gosh, December 28th, Oklahoma and LSU in the first game in Atlanta. We don't know about their running back, Clyde.
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, he's got a hamstring issue, but whether he's got a hamstring issue or not, Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winner, I think is on a mission. And this team wants to get to New Orleans to play. I think they are better in every position than Oklahoma. They win easily this game.
I think this is blowout city.
Blowout city?
In the Georgia Dome or Mercedes-Benz Dome, whatever it's called. I think it is blowout city. Because the only way it's close is if Jalen Hurts plays his tail off. And he's played great this year, but the last few games, he's thrown a bunch of interceptions. He's fumbled the ball a bunch. I just think LSU has way too much firepower. I think, and plus Oklahoma has 3 suspensions.
Yeah, that's trouble. That's trouble. You need all your weapons against LSU. Final game is the Fiesta Bowl. It's Ohio State playing Clemson. I don't see it up there, but Clemson and Ohio State play after Oklahoma and LSU on the 28th. I like the Clemson Tigers. I've said it over and over again. It'll be a Tiger showdown in New Orleans. You going with Clemson?
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence and all his weapons, ETN and the wide receivers. So
that T. Higgins is amazing.
Yep, he is. He'll be a first-round draft
amazing.
pick. So I just think I really like the Ohio State football team, but I think if they get behind, Justin Fields is not a good enough thrower against Brent Venables' defense. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be Clemson playing LSU in New Orleans.
I agree with you 100%. There's our bowl picks. You can check us out on the internet to check out what you if you need any help. These are high dollar, high quality picks right here. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to ask the QB to rank the 4 quarterbacks in the college football playoff, and then who would he want when he needs them the most? Which quarterback would he pick first in the most pressure-filled situation? I'm going to ask the quarterback here on Pod Up with Shane Matthews after this break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's Matthews in the Morning here, Pod Up, with JC and the QB.
Yeah, baby. So
JC, you're traveling tomorrow.
I know. I'm going to Mississippi.
You're going out on assignment.
Going out on assignment to Mississippi. Quite a few assignments, actually, when I'm gone. And then we go into Christmas next week. Not sure when we'll be back. Probably Thursday.
I think we're going to do shows next week on Mondays
schedule.
and Fridays.
Yeah, you come
Just
out.
Monday and Friday.
Yeah, come out with a schedule there for us. All right, so we have the final four, if you will, in college football coming up. 4 great quarterbacks, 3 Heisman Trophy finalists, and a guy who hasn't lost a regular season game and who is the defending national champions MVP, basically, Trevor Lawrence. QB.
Well, he hasn't lost a game, period.
He's amazing.
You said regular season. He hasn't lost any games.
You're right. So rank the 4 rank them to me, 1 through 4. If you had to pick 1 through 4, it's tough now, but you're a quarterback, so this is in your...
I got 2 1s.
You got 2 1s? Well, I didn't want 1A and 1B. I want 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, I'm going to go on just the way they're playing this year.
Yes,
and
that's
Trevor Lawrence has played outstanding. He struggled early in the year, but I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I think and then Trevor Lawrence.
Okay,
and then it's going to be Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Now, does Joe Burrow come with Joe Brady in this ranking?
Well, obviously. I mean, if Joe Brady's not calling plays, we revert back to last year.
Back to last year, and then we have Trevor Lawrence. Well, when Joe Burrow goes to the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm not sure they're bringing Joe Brady with him, although they might.
Well, but he's going to be running an NFL.
They'll copy everything he's done.
No, because here's the thing, JC.
Okay, what's the thing?
Do you know who coaches the Cincinnati Bengals?
Some young guy.
Who came from where?
I don't know.
He was the wide receiver coach for your team, the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, okay.
So they run a lot of the same stuff that the Saints run.
Okay, good. So that's going to help Joe Burrow.
But again, what people don't understand is I can draw you up all the plays, and I can hand them to you, JC, and you can go coach a little Pop Warner team out here. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know how to teach it or know when to call it, it does no good.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody has the same plays. It's not like Joe Brady has these new plays that nobody else has in America.
Well,
he just knows how to scheme it up. He's taught it very well, and he knows when to call
When to call them, yeah. So if we were on the 40-yard line, our own 40-yard line, and we were down 4 points with 2 minutes to go and only 1 timeout, of those 4, and I mean, this is tough because the guy you have at number 4 never loses and always pulls it out at the end.
Well, he lost to Kansas State this year.
Well,
a bad
he didn't
Kansas State
lose.
team.
But
he turned it over 1,000,000 times in that game.
Yeah, that's true. So
I'm taking Joe Brady. Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence. They can throw the football. Not that
you don't like the kid that threw 44 touchdowns and 1 interception. This year?
But I'm telling you, I could be wrong, but I think he's going to struggle against Brent Venables in that defense.
Okay, all right. So I was talking about Justin Fields. What about Jalen? I mean, this guy over time has got the best record I think that you could ever expect. Although Trevor Lawrence might beat him out.
I like all 4 of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
2 of them are a little bit different than the other 2. They're more run oriented, and they've had tremendous careers, especially Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. He's the only player that has been to the Final Four every year of his career.
It's unbelievable.
But
it's lucky.
He
had dogs around him, baby. He had frisbee catching dogs everywhere,
but
as have these other guys.
He's only won one time?
Well, he won it, one time when he didn't even play in the second half. But he could have easily won it before that when he single-handedly kept Alabama in that game against Clemson and scored the last time he was on the field against Clemson before.
But y'all couldn't stop Clemson.
Well, that's right. So that wasn't his fault. He's the quarterback. So I think I agree with just about everything you said. Joe Burrow's got my guy, but Trevor Lawrence is such a winner. And 400,000 Instagram followers, QB. You don't think he's going to be cashing in before he even goes pro? So you can bet on that.
He's going to be the first pick when he comes out.
Oh, no doubt. And they've got him for another year. I mean, it's Clemson is a rewind every season.
And they have the top recruiting class in the country again. Because they're winning, they have a coach that people like, and they have tremendous facility.
Thank you to Joe Coward of 1010XL for joining us today. I won't be back tomorrow. I'll be back next week with the QB. QB is in here tomorrow, live on Pod Up with Shane Matthews, my man. Good show.
All right. Have a good trip.
All right.